Allow me for now return to the studio and take note of Imagine Uganda. That's one statement that should open your eyes, your ears, but most importantly, your soul to what Uganda is, the prospect that is this country, and the enormous potential that it holds in terms of global reach, reputation, as well as acclaim. There are so many stakeholders who are doing a lot of work behind the scenes to ensure that this particular prong is achieved, and the objectives of putting brand Uganda out there in good stead comes to light. This morning, we are joined by Moses A. Mawa, the Managing Director of Imagine Uganda. Now, like I began, I'm imagining what he's up to in as far as selling Uganda is concerned. Mr. Mawa, welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's a pleasure.
Great. Showcasing the Pearl of Africa, the best of the diaspora, public, business, and NGO sectors. This is cross-cutting as much as it is elaborate. I'll throw the proverbial or the mainstream questions of journalism that span across what is this, how are you doing it, when are the critical interventions, campaigns, and events happening. Generally take us through this, but before we go into the Imagine Uganda, who is Mr. Moses A. Mawa?
Thank you so much, Chris. It's truly a pleasure to be here. My name indeed is Moses A. Mawa. I am actually based in Toronto, Canada. I run a media organization called Silver Trust Media. Within that, we own a 24-hour TV channel, of which I'm also the president and CEO, called Afro Global Television.
Okay.
And Afro Global, its mandate is actually to showcase the best of Africa and the global diaspora. In addition to that, we actually have a number of things, especially in the publishing field and also digital media. A number of years back, actually 2010, I was so privileged to be involved with doing something. As much as I'm a Ugandan, actually a proud one at that, and of course also Canadian by citizenship, I was actually involved with doing things commissioned actually by the government of Nigeria. It was actually during the reign of President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. It was actually absolutely wonderful that we were able to showcase Nigeria globally. Then after that, we did a similar thing actually for Kenya, for Zambia, for Zimbabwe, and for a number of other countries as well. So I actually kept asking myself, you know, I'm here promoting all these other countries, and yet I'm actually Ugandan, and we have the most beautiful country on the planet. Why not actually promote that? That's we also have the most hospitable people. Ugandans are absolutely incredible, right? So now we decided actually to, you know, get started with developing this project, Imagine Uganda. I'm also actually the brother of the late Honorable Jessica Erio, who was a cabinet minister here in Uganda, member of parliament, and also she served as the Deputy Secretary General of the East African Community. Yeah, so she had actually kept nudging me, encouraging me to ensure that we did something actually for Uganda as well. Unfortunately, in 2022, she passed away, you know, of cancer. But with her inspiration and everything, I was actually eventually able to connect with the president and to share this amazing vision actually with him. I am so grateful actually to one particular, you know, individual, that is Mohamed Bagonza, you know, a senior presidential advisor on diaspora affairs, who had actually been sent, you know, globally to meet with members of the diaspora sent by the president. So when he actually went to Canada, I had the privilege of actually meeting with him, and subsequently we were able to reach out, you know, to State House. So earlier this year, you know, January 8th, we were invited by the president to meet him in Rwakitura, his you know, country residence, and that's where he officially endorsed Imagine Uganda.
All right.
And he actually gave us a challenge to ensure that we would put it out, produce the first edition of the magazine, which you actually have, and that was formally actually launched in Chankwazi on International Women's Day, and that was actually a public endorsement of the project as well. So we are absolutely delighted about this, and our hope is that very much like what NTV and some other media organizations are doing, to constantly present, you know, the best that Uganda has to offer. We are so delighted that we are actually within this space to be able to do that.
No doubt these stories that are inspirational, especially they bring to light brand Uganda, one that ought to be told differently than it is known out there, or the negativity must be taken away. But allow me speak about this initiative, or rather ask about this initiative in its specifics. There is so much that is being done by so many stakeholders. Magazines, they're outing a lot of content in terms of podcasts online. And this one in particular must be looking at maybe a different model, so to speak. One that won't get caught into the, you know, the troubled waters of what is already existing. Just take us through what's different with Imagine Uganda.
You know, Imagine Uganda is quite different because of the fact that it has 5 key pillars. And those 5 key pillars include trade, investment, tourism, the diaspora, and of course leadership. And many initiatives that are actually organized or set up to promote Uganda tend to primarily focus on tourism. There are some that may only focus on trade, for example. But this is actually a vertically integrated approach where we recognize the importance of trade. Our coffee, our all manufactured things, and agricultural and minerals, and of course oil coming up and so on. Those things are actually amazing things that we are able to export. But then we also focused on, as a country, to actually import specific things that can actually add value to our, you know, to what we are able to do, including machinery, for example. So that actually is extremely important, so for us to be able to showcase that. So when you read the Imagine Uganda magazine, or you watch our content, you know, that is broadcast or posted online, you will actually get to realize that there is significance that's actually placed on, you know, on the trade aspect, import and export. Now, on the investment part, we also want to ensure that we attract investors who are actually able to bring in capital, who are able to bring in skills and all of that, but then not negating, you know, the incredible resilience and expertise that we have here as well, because we see that investment actually has to be symbiotic to ensure that, you know, the talents and the resources that are here are actually put in place as well. So there is actually local content, you know, and to ensure that local entrepreneurs and others are actually empowered, you know, as well. When you look at tourism as well, we actually look at it holistically. Most of the time, the approach is to emphasize engaging, you know, tourists, you know, from Europe, from Asia, and some other places. But we actually are intentional about engaging even Ugandans in the diaspora. I've lived in Canada actually for a number of years, and I know the challenge of the fact that when many people actually leave Uganda and they go overseas, they get, you know, interconnected with the cultures and everything there, and they forget about home. So one of the main things that this project does is to engage and encourage Ugandans in the diaspora to come home to invest and to do different sort of initiatives, but then also to be able to discover the best of the Pearl of Africa, because then they actually become ambassadors, you know, and so on. So one aspect of what we are doing right now is developing actually what we call Imagine Uganda ambassadors. That will actually enable people in the diaspora, whether they are Ugandans overseas or even others, once they actually come here, they go back and they become actually ambassadors of the Pearl of Africa.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's stay on the ambassadors prong, especially when it comes to the number of Ugandans who are increasingly going abroad, either to seek employment or advance their education. There are a number of youth that are doing that. And when they do get there, there is need to keep them focused on what is back home. What is the youth agenda when it comes to Imagine Uganda? Very quickly.
Yeah. You know, our organization includes an entity known as the Transformation Institute. And the Transformation Institute actually has a youth mentorship program called the Crossover Mentorship Program. And that initiative is actually intergenerational. That's why we call it Crossover. So that means we're able to transfer skills, talents, and all kinds of things from the older generation to the younger ones as well. And then it's symbiotic in the sense that the younger people are also able to, you know, encourage and support the older ones, especially when it comes to technology, social media, and things like that. So it's so important, Chris, what you have mentioned about the importance of ensuring that you know, the young people who actually go abroad to study and some to actually work and so on, for them to remain rooted in their culture, the Ugandan you know, culture for that matter. And through that mentorship program, we actually help a lot of young people you know, to stay grounded. The initiative is exactly about that. In fact, the Imagine Uganda Ambassadors Initiative, it is actually right now in the process of engaging and recruiting young people whom the president calls the Bazukulus, right? Yeah, so we need to as much as possible to engage our youth you know, in knowing that our country is beautiful, it's wonderful. It has its challenges, you know, but aside from the challenges, it's most important to focus on the positives. Because if you go to any country, even in Europe or Asia, there are slums, there are people who are homeless, there are all kinds of challenges and so on and so forth. But they do not amplify those negativities, you know. So that is really important. And to add just one more thing about that, you know, there are just so many people, of course, you know, who may leave the country and go overseas and may be disgruntled for one reason or the other, and so on. But this project is not political. You know, the primary focus is to make sure that
you've hit the nail on the head.
Yes, yes, and the most important thing is to make sure that we're able to showcase the best of what we have, so that anyone who lives here, regardless of their political affiliations and so on, once they're actually overseas, their cousins, their aunties, their uncles, their relatives who are back home, that whatever it is that we do in terms of tourism and trade and investment and so on, will also support these people back home.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Moses A. Mawa, Managing Director at Imagine Uganda. Of course, a project that is showcasing the best